Hello! In this video we are going to understand and deploy file server in Windows 2016. Also how to use the file server tools to manage and monitor file server. A file server is a server responsible for the central storage and management of data files so that other computers on the same network can access the files. Also allows users to share information over a network without having to physically transfer files by other external storage devices. That means the file servers provide the following functions. Enable user to store files in a centralized location. Enable a user to share files with another user. Administrators can manage access to files and folders. Administrators can manage storage disk space. Administrators can manage disk quotas to control amount of space that users can utilize. Permissions. One of the most critical security concepts is permission management, ensuring that proper permissions are set with users. And before you thinking about deploying a file server, you should be knowing the difference between share and NTFS permissions. Function completely separately from each other, but ultimately serve the same purpose to prevent unauthorized access. NTFS permissions. NTFS stands for New Technology File System. NTFS is a file system that the Windows NT operating system uses for storing and retrieving files. Prior to NTFS, the file allocation table FAT file system was the primary file system in the old operating system and was designed for small disks and simple folder structures. The NTFS file system supports larger file sizes and hard drives and is more secure than FAT. Share permissions. Share permissions are the permission you set for a folder when you share that folder, and the users on other computers can connect to the folder over the network. Also, share permission determine the type of access others have to the shared folder across the network. So, when users connect to a shared folder, they can open, save, and delete files, modify and delete folders, and perform other tasks, depending on the level of permission you grant them. Share permissions are not evaluated when users are logged into the resources locally. Let's see the key difference between the type of share and NTFS permissions, so you will know what to do. The share permissions apply to a folder and not applied to files. NTFS permissions are used to manage access to the files and folders that are stored in NTFS file system partitions. Okay, there are three types of share permissions. When you share a folder and want to set the permissions for that folder, full control, change, read. Full control. Enable users to read, change, as well as edit permissions and take ownership of files. Change. Change means that the user can read, execute, write, delete folders and files within the share. Read. Read allows user to view the folder's contents. In NTFS, beside full control, change, and read, that can be set for groups or individually, NTFS offer a few more permission options. Full control allow user to read, write, change, and delete files and subfolders. In addition, users can change permissions settings for all files and subdirectories. Modify allows user to read and write of files and subfolders. Also allows deletion of the folder. Read and execute allows user to view and run executable files, including scripts. List folder contents. permits viewing and listing of files and subfolder as well as executing of files inherited by folders only. Read allows user to view the folders and subfolders contents. Write allows user to add files and subfolders and allows you to write to a file. So, if you are logged on a computer locally, the share permissions applied to a folder have no impact on the user. And in this scenario, only the NTFS permissions are evaluated. Okay, now let's see how to use share and NTFS permissions together to avoid getting complicated and messy permissions. One of the common questions that comes up when you are configuring security permissions is what happens when share and NTFS permissions interact with each other? Or what happens when combining the share and NTFS permissions? So, when you are using share and NTFS permission together, the most restrictive permission wins. And it's an important point to remember. If you are accessing a file or folder over the network, then you combine the share and NTFS permissions. The most restrictive permission is effective permission. Consider the following examples. If the share permissions were set to full control and NTFS permission set to read, when a user accesses the file on the share, they will be given read permission, since the most restrictive permission will always win. If the share permissions were set to change and NTFS permissions set to full control, when a user accesses the file on the share, they will be given modify permission. Modify access is essentially the change permission, since the change permission was the most restrictive permission. The user will have read, write, delete, which is change or modify access. Finally, the choice of which permission to use comes down to the choice of the individual administrator. Some administrators configure the share permission with full control and then assign appropriate permissions using NTFS. Others configure permission at the share level. The important point to remember is that share permissions are generally good for small or simple share folders, as it will provide you limited security for your folders. And if the permissions get more complicated, for example, you have multiple folders that require different permissions for different users, NTFS is a better choice and you will gain the greatest flexibility by using it. Moreover, the NTFS permissions apply whether the resources are accessed locally or over the network, while the share permission are not evaluated when users are logged into the resources locally. So, to do this and managing NTFS permissions and share permissions, the suggested best practice from Microsoft is to leave the share at everyone full control and set your permissions on the NTFS folders without having to worry about the share permissions interfering with your changes. Okay, let's jump to deploy the file server. Deploying the file server rule. The default installation of Server 2012 R2 includes the file server rule, so you can start sharing files immediately after completing the installation. From Server Manager, add rule and features. Next. 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 In Server Rules, expand file and storage services. File and iSCSI services. As you see the file server rule installed. Select File Server Resources Manager. That will enable you to manage and classify data stored on file server. We will talk about that in detail later on. Add features. Next. Next. Select Restart if required. Install. Installation complete. Tools. File Server Resources Manager. FSRM installed. Okay, let's see how to create and share folders on the file servers and how to configure security permission for shared folders and subfolders and files. Assume that you are asked to set up a shared folder on the file server for all departments in your company and assign appropriate permissions for each user. So, you have to create root folder, free cloud, that will contain all department folder. Right click, properties, share, advanced sharing. Windows automatically uses the name of the folder as the share name, and you can change the share name if you want to use a different name. Also, you can add a $sign at the end of the name, as you see would turn it into a hidden share. Permission. I prefer to remove everyone and add authenticated user and grant it read and change permission. Okay. Apply. Okay. Go to Security tab, Advanced. As you see, all permission inherited from the hard disk drive. Disable inheritance permission. Convert inherited permission. Now, all users have read, execute, and special permission. I will remove all users' permission and add authenticated users. I will keep these permissions, read and execute, list folder contents, read, and set apply to this folder only. That means apply this permission to free cloud folder only, and the permission that assigned to authenticated user group will be applied only to the free cloud folder or root folder and not applied to all subfolders and files that will be created under this folder. Okay. The final permissions will have been as shown. Administrator with full control permission and applied to this folder, subfolder and files. System, full control permission and applied to this folder, subfolders and files. Creator owner, full control permission and applied to subfolders and files only. Authenticated users, read and execute permission and apply to this folder only. Take care, as it's very important to avoid any unwanted access. Apply. Okay. The root folder created, and now let's create a new folder for each department. New folder for IT, new folder for finance. Configure security permission on IT folder. Security. Advanced. Inherited permission from root folder, free cloud. Administrators, system, and creator owner with full control permission. Add. To add all IT's users or the group that have all member of IT team. Add user 01. Full control permission and apply to this folder and subfolders and files. Okay. Apply. Add user 02. Read and execute. list folder contents, and read permission. Apply to this folder and subfolders and files. Okay. Apply. Add user 03. Deny. Deny all permission in this folder and apply to this folder and subfolders and files. Apply. So now user 1 have full control. User 02 have read and execute. User 03 have deny all to IT folder and cannot access IT folder. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Let's configure security permission on finance folder. Security, advanced, add, user 01, deny all, add, user 02, deny all, add, user 03, deny all. As you see, user 01, user 02, and user 03 have denied all permission to finance folder and cannot access. Add user 04, allow full control permission. Okay, apply. Now, user 04 have full control to all folders and files that created under finance folder. Okay. Okay, let's create test folders and files under the IT folder. Okay, the same in finance folder. Now, let's check from the client side. Login by using user 01. Go to network share. As you remember, user 01 have full control to IT shared folder and access denied to all finance shared folder. Okay, let's check and verify. IT, create new folder. Folder created. Open files. Modify. Save. Delete. Yes. Create file. Create BMP file. Okay. As shown, user 01 have full control in IT shared folder. Okay, let's check finance shared folder. As shown, access deny. You don't have permission to access because the user has denied all in the finance shared folder. Also, you can easily create a shortcut to your shared folder by using a map network drive. Copy the path of shared folder, this PC, open computer tab, and select map network drive. Enter the path of shared folder. As shown, it will show up as a new drive under this PC. So you can quickly access the shared files you need. Okay, let's check from another account. Login by using user 02. Go to network share. Copy the bus. Create map network drive. As you remember, user 02 has read and execute list folder contents in IT shared folder and have access deny to finance folder. Okay, let's check and verify. IT, open text file, edit, save. As shown, cannot save and asked me to save in another location. Try to delete. You need permission to delete this file. Okay, create new folder. The same, you need permission to delete because the user has only read and execute permission. Let's check finance folder. As shown, you don't have permission to access because this user has access denied to this folder. Let's check user 03. Login. Go to the path of the network share. As you remember, user 03 has access denied to IT and finance shared folder. Let's check. As shown, you don't have permission to access both shared folders. Okay, let's check the last account, user 04. Login. Path of the network share. As you remember, user 04 not have any permission to IT shared folder and full control in finance shared folder. As shown, you don't have permission to access IT shared folders as it's not have any permission to this folder and it's considered as access denied. Finance. Well, open text file, edit, save, done. Okay, create new folder, done. Create new text file, Delete file? Yes. As shown, the user has full control and can modify, create, and delete. Okay, I think now you will be able to create shared folders and assign correct permissions. Now, let's jump to configure File Server Resources Manager. From Server Manager, go to Tools and select File Server Resources Manager. File Server Resources Manager (FSRM) is a rule service in Windows Server that enables you to manage data stored on file server. It includes the following features. File classification. You can classify files and apply policies based on this classification. Quota management. That allows limiting the space that is allowed for a volume or folder, and they can be automatically applied to new folders that are created on a volume. File screening. This is to control what type of files that user can store in the file server. You can limit using file extension such as .mp3 and .avi to store in the file server. Management reports. Reports can be generated to monitor access to files and disk usage and how data is classified. Open quota management. Select quota templates. These are the default quota templates that Microsoft highly recommends using and applying these templates as the mechanisms to define the quotas. Also, if you would like to create your own templates, you can do it by right-clicking on quota templates and select Create Quota Template and configure it. Enter template name, test template. Select the space limit, 6 GB. Each template will have its own soft and hard limit. The template created, this template will be applied to some specific drive or folder when we create the quota itself. Okay, you can simply delete the template. We can either edit these existing templates by double-click or right-click and select Edit. Edit the name of quota. Also, you can copy the quota template before edit. Check the quota type, hard or soft. Hard quota. Forbid user from adding additional content after that 5 giga quotas is exceeded. That means a hard quota actually prevents a user from adding files and folders. Soft quota allows a user to exceed the limit but just notify you that indeed they have exceeded that limit. So here you can choose whether or not you want to prevent the users from exceeding the limit, or if you want to allow them to exceed the limit but just notify you indeed they have exceeded that limit. Add description. You can configure notification email or event log. The notifications can be sent via emails once quota reached specified threshold. Also, it can be configured to run a script, command, or log an event. Click OK to apply the quota. Select Apply Template only to derived quotas that match the original template. This option will update only those quotas that have not been edited since they were created with the original template. Okay. The default template modified successfully. Okay. Once you have created the quota template or decide to select an existing quota template, you can create the quota. Right click and select create quota from template, quota path. Click on browse and browse to the folder where you want to apply this quota. You can apply this quota to specific drive or folder. Let's select IT folder. Select the quota template, free cloud, users, 5 GB, create. Once the quota is created, you can see it from the console. As you see, the quota applied to IT folder, and all users under this folder cannot exceed the specified amount 5 GB as we select hard quota. Also, we can create more than one quota or editing any other template. Let's modify another one. Let's keep a quota that will impose a 10 GB limit on finance users based on file or folder ownership. It means every user will be prohibited from using more than 10 GB of the server's shared resource. Right click and select edit. You can copy the quota template before edit. Edit the name of quota. Add description. I will keep hard quota to prevent users from exceed the limit. Okay. Apply. As you see, the template modified. Right click, create quota from template, browse and select the finance folder, create, go to quota. As you see, the quota is created with 5 GB limit on IT users and 10 GB limit on finance users, and the quota type set to hard. Go to quota template, double click to edit. Notification threshold. The notification can be sent via email once a quota reached specified threshold. Also, it can be configured to run a script, command, or log an event. Press add to set additional notification threshold that you want. Also, select edit to modify existing, but it's typically the defaults have worked well for me personally, and no need to add additional notifications. There is some initial configuration that we will want to perform first to allow this to work. From the FSRM console, right-click on File Server Resources Manager and then Configure Options. On the Email Notification tab, under SMTP server name or IP address, type the host name or the IP addresses of the SMTP server that will forward email notifications and storage reports. If you want to routinely notify certain administrators about quota or file screening events or email storage reports, under default administrator recipients, type H email addresses. Use this format. Use semicolons to separate multiple accounts. To specify a different from for email notifications and storage report sent from File Server Resources Manager, under the default from email address, type the email address that you want to appear in your message. To test your setting, click Send Test Email. Okay, you can adjust them to your needs anytime later. File Screening Management. File screening is one of my favorite features in FSRM, as it provides a way of identifying the files that you don't want by file extension. By control what file types can be saved to folders on your file server. Typically, those are things like .mp3 and other digital music files, video files, and executables, just to name a few. There are two types of file screens, active and passive. Active screening blocks configured file types from being saved to the folder and subfolders. Passive screening allows the configured file types to be saved without block, and you can monitoring by configuring the email notifications or logging an event to determine the type of files. Also, you should know it's the same like quota management. You can create new file screen template or follow Microsoft recommendation and using the templates for setting up file screens. Let's select a file screen template, audio and video. Right click and select create file screen from template. Browse to select the drive or folder that you want to apply. IT. Select block audio and video files. Create. So, in our example, we will block users from storing audio and video files in their IT shared folder. Right click, select edit, select audio and video files, edit. The users will not be able to copy any files classified as audio and video in this list. Also, you can remove or add another audio and video extension in this list. Okay. Warning, as we didn't configure SMTP to send notification email. Okay. Apply. Go to file screens, created as you see. You can block image, executable file, or email files like PST or OST files based on your needs. Okay. Storage and reports management. We can configure storage and reports to generate various useful reports. These reports allow us to get a high-level overview of the file shares on the file server. Click on Generate Reports now. Select the reports that you wish to be generated. Duplicated file will list files that have the same size that appear to be duplicated file. File screening audit will list events generated by file screens configured on the server. Files by file group will list this file by type of file, executable, image, audio and video, etc. Files by owner gives a list of files grouped by owner. Large file gives a list of files that meet or exceed the file size that you specify. Definitely my favorite report. By default, all available reports that will be selected will be generated. Okay. Select the formats that the report should be generated from: HTML, XML, CSV or text. I will select HTML for test. Okay. Scope tab to define the folder that you want to report on. Select Free Cloud Shared folder. Also, you can select some built-in options and specify the kind of data you want included. Okay. Wait for reports to be generated and then display them. Let's select Generate Reports in the background to check the path of reports. Go to C, Drive, Storage Reports, Interactive. As you see, the reports generated. Large file. As shown, the generated report will list everything related to file size. Okay. Files by owner. As you see, the generated report will list all the owners of each file. Okay, let's jump to configuring user home folder, folder redirection, and offline files. Folder redirection and offline files are used together to redirect the path of local folders such as documents, favorites, desktop, etc. to a network location by using group policy while caching the contents locally for increased speed and availability. That means the user will interact with files in the redirected folder as if it still existed on the local drive. For example, you can redirect the document folder, which is usually stored on a local drive, to a network location, and the files in the document folder will be available to the user from any computer on the network. Offline files makes network file available to a user, even if the network connections to the file server is unavailable or slow, as it keeps a copy of the files stored on the network on your computer. This allows users to work with them even when they are not connected to the network or a server is unavailable. The next time the user connects to the network or the server is available, their offline files on your computers will automatically sync to the network files on the server to update. Okay, a computer switches to offline mode when enable always offline mode option, the server is unavailable, the network connections is slow, the user manually switches to offline mode by using the Work Offline button in the Windows Explorer. Okay, let's start. Create a file share for redirected folders, home folders, to redirect all users' documents folder to this shared folder. Properties, sharing tab, advanced sharing, share this folder. Type a name for the share. By default, the system type name of folder, and you can add a $sign after the share name to hide the share from casual browsers. Permissions, remove everyone and add authenticated user. Read and change permission. Okay. Apply. Okay. Security tab. Advanced. Select disable inheritance. Convert inherited permission. Remove. Add authenticated user. Execute list or read permission and create folders and set this permission applied to this folder only. Okay, the rest of permission should be set as you see: administrators, full control, and apply it to this folder, subfolders and files. System, full control, and apply it to this folder, subfolder, and files. Creator owner, full control, and apply it to subfolders and files. It's very important as it's required permission for the file share hosting redirected folder. Okay, now let's create a group policy for the folder redirection. From Server Manager, Tools, Group Policy Management, right-click on Group Policy Object, New GPO, type the name of GPO, Home Folders. Okay. Right-click on the newly created GPO, Edit, navigate to Computer Configuration, Policies, Administrative Templates, Network, Offline Files, Double click allow or disallow use of the offline files feature. This option will enable offline files in all users and the users cannot disable it. Enabled, apply, OK. Double click on action on server disconnect. This option will force the users to go offline and use the local copies of the files if the file server is inaccessible. Enable action work offline button. Apply, OK. Navigate to user configuration, policies, Windows settings, folder redirection. These are the standard folders. We can select whichever folder are required for business needs. For example, in some companies, the folders music, pictures, and videos are not allowed because they are not relevant to the business and considered frivolous. So, let's start with documents as a test, which contains the most files of each user. Right-click on Documents, Properties. In the settings, select Basic, redirect everyone's folder to the same location. In the target folder location, select Create a folder for each one under the root path. In the root path, type the path of shared folder. So the policy will redirect the user's document folder in this path. OK. Go to Settings tab to verify the redirection settings. Check only Move the contents of document roaming to the new location. Also apply redirection policy to Windows 2000 and XP if you have any users still using this operating system in your company. At the policy removal box, select Leave the folder in the new location when policy is removed. This option will keep redirected folder in the file server when this group policy removed. Apply. A warning message about incompatibility with older operating systems. As long as we have Windows 10 operating system, so I will ignore and press yes to continue. OK. You can redirect any other folder based on your needs by using the same steps. OK, the group policy created. I will link the group policy to FreeCloud OU. OK. Let's verify from the clients. Restart the client to refresh the new settings. Login. Open CMD. GB result /R to make sure the new group policy applied. Under applied group policy, home folders GBO applied as you see. OK. Open Sync Center icon to check the result of your recent synchronization activity. Double click. As you see, the root folder in the file server. Sync now to start the copy of documents folder to the file server. The sync completed. OK. Let's go to Documents folder and create test folder and files for user 01. New folder, user 01. Save. Sync all again to redirect newly created folders and files to the file server. Sync completed. Manage offline files. As you see, it's enabled and the user cannot disable it. Okay. Let's check another user. Open cmd gb_result/r. As you see, home folders group policy applied. Open sync center. Sync all. Completed. The root folder in the file server. Manage offline files. Enabled and the user cannot disable it. Go to Documents. Create test folders and files for user 02. New folder. User 02. Okay. Sync all. Completed. Okay. Let's go to the file server to assure that user's document folder redirected correctly, especially for user 01 and user 02. Home folders. As you see, a new folder with the name of each user automatically created, and it confirms that folder redirection settings are deployed successfully. Okay. Open user 01. As you see, documents folder created and contains all folders and files created in user 01. Okay. Open user 02. Documents folder created and contains all folders and files created in user 02. Okay. Now let's limit the space that is allowed for each user in home folders. Open File Server Resources Manager. Quota templates. Create quota template. Select free cloud users 5 GB. Copy new template from this template. Type the name of new template. Home folder. Description. Home folder. Quota. 3 GB. Space limit 3 GB. Hard quota. Okay. New quota template created. Right click, create quota from this template. Browse to the path of home folders. Okay. Create. Home folders quota created, and it will prevent all users from adding files and folders more than 3 GB. I hope you have enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to providing you more great videos well into the future. Many thanks and see you in the next video.